a concern.
See what the priority is for Imp. Obviously doesn't want to be stuck in that matchup again.
Very true.
Coach Hurt behind LGD.
And Maokai actually going to be banned away here from LGD as well. Rise is going to hit the bench. Not going to let that one go through first round. As LGD now with the power pick potential. Echo is available, but Marin didn't find success on it last time. We'll see what they really want to take away, as Nidalee is an opportunity for Amy.
Nidalee is also a big opportunity for Condi, but Vladimir was the other one that escaped it.
Yeah, that is a big deal. As Punish could possibly be playing that. Marin, of course, could be playing it on the top side of the map at the same time. Condi looking at the kitty lady, and the Bard is there for 0. My God, if we're talking about power picks for this team, they are a couple of them. Not to be locked in just yet. So we do have 43 seconds on the clock for them to make up their mind.
So, will Vladimir be enough to compensate for Condi's Nidalee?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Vlad, since he's been pretty much permabanned. We've seen him a couple of times in the LCS as well as the LPL. How Vlad works is he's impossible to trade with right now. So his resource bar into Crimson Rush stacks up very easily.
Yep, couple of Qs.
About 2 of them. And then once he has that stacked, he just runs at you. And due to the life steal that he gets back off of the Q damage, cannot trade with him. And so he could just stand on the back caster creeps and be obnoxious.
Go to work, in other words. But WE actually decided not to take away the Nidalee. It is going to be the Sivir locked in for Mystic, as that Lucian was taken off the board. So bottom lane already there. I do like this. If Amy does lock away the Elise, he has played it before, didn't quite find too much success, but if he can move around the map, I feel like Elise could be a good option. Also works well into Nidalee because you have your little spiderlings follow you and they tank up all of the spears.
The real question is what AD carry will Imp play? He's now played 5 unique in all 5 of his games.
Yeah.
Are we going to see some overlap? Is this the day?
Wow. He's played Lucian, Twitch, Sivir, Vayne, and Ezreal now. He's got...
Is he going to go for Caitlyn?
Yeah, I think Caitlyn is definitely an option. Varus is another option there. Very strong in the bottom lane at the moment.
I'm trying to stick in the meta.
Yep. Ashe is another option.
Oh, Ashe.
That's
good
an
year,
actual serious one. That's a serious one. As opposed to the Varus, which is not great, really.
I actually really like Ashe, especially against Sivir, too.
Yeah.
Because you just wait for her to just reflex spell shield a volley, and then you're like, gotcha.
Sorry. And if she doesn't, then you've just shot her with a volley, and it's done a lot of damage.
Yep.
All good. But it is going to be the Elise locked in, as well as the Braum for you. So trying not to reveal their hand too much over the side of LGD. Not necessarily picking up power picks, but definitely picking up flexible picks.
I like that they're taking the CC. So the reason why Team WE didn't want to take Nidalee in second rotation is because they were confident that LGD wouldn't. Simply because Vladimir Nidalee, how are you going to kill or catch anyone with that? That is a 0 CC jungle mid duo. So they take the Elise to try to give some power there in terms of crowd control, which means that Condi can pick it up later on in the rotation.
Well, Condi is going to be able to grab it, so Nidalee is there, as well as the Lissandra, which is now definitely a flex pick here for WE, as GA has played a heck of a lot of it in the past, but 957 played it last game. So more than happy to play that. And that is going to be Vayne picked up one more time for Imp, so his first redo on a champion is going to be
champion,
the Vayne. Yeah. Most played champion in the LPL this split. Nailed it. Perfect. Into a Sivir as well, which I believe is something that he liked to do.
It's a counter pick.
Yeah, no, it was picked into Ezreal last time, I think.
It's also a counter pick.
Quite well. Yeah. I dig it. And now, Marin thinking about his champion of choice. Very interesting, the fact that he can pick a last option Echo. It is going to be locked in here. So Marin, back-to-back Echo games. And that is going to be more CC available now as well for LGD, if that parallel convergence can be placed right. I do like it making up for the lack of CC on Vladimir by picking it up on every other champion.
It also means that LG across the board have superior kind of 1v1 and 2v2 matchups, so the potential to really snowball that way, which takes a lot of pressure off of Amy from making sure that his lanes either go neutral or win.
Yeah, I like it. GA thinking about picking up the Kassadin into the Vladimir matchup. Doesn't sound like it'd go all that well. We'll see how he goes. It is going to be locked in, so GA throwing the gauntlet here in the mid lane as he locks away the Kassadin.
I mean, I think the mentality here is that you're just going to pick something that's going to scale just as hard.
Yeah.
Cassidy will also have his shield when he tries to make some trades. That said, Vladimir was able to outtrade Victor with his shield at level 1. So we'll see if it goes better for Cassidy.
Well, not entirely sure whether it will, but GA will have definitely the mobility to back him up and the advantage in that regard.
It's going to be a very rough couple of early levels, though.
Most certainly will. But WE have locked themselves down a pretty powerful bottom lane. We'll see what is going to be able to come out of LGD in the response. Imp probably has something to prove moving into this game, especially now that he is on the Vayne to really get the work done.
I feel like this is just lane dominance coming out of LGD versus long-range pick potential. And again, Team WE, they like to play late, and picks can be game-changing in those moments. So this is something they're very practiced with.
But WE do need to rely on getting an advantage or making sure that their CC hits multiple people because they're so squishy. Just really frightening. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into game number 2. So we are going to have a look at WE drinking their coffee, having a look at things. We do have a pause to start off this particular match. We'll be back into it as soon as possible as WE champing at the bit, ready to get onto the Rift. And look, that the last thing that was raised about, this comp being very squishy. Do you think it's going to be a problem?
It's so unfortunate. Like, as a color caster, you just hold on to how compositions work because you wait for them to be executed and then you bring your color point. But in the LPL, we just get so many pauses that I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to blow everything that I had about these compositions saved up.
Yep. Come on, bring it.
So if you look at LGD's comp, something that's very cool is the tower dive potential.
Yeah.
So you have an Elise and you have a Vladimir. And now towers were changed in how they're juggling aggro. It's a lot harder. It's not going to reset the damage. But with Vladimir's W as well as the Elise repel, and the thing is we see this every time Vladimir is being picked, is that he has so much threat and damage underneath the tower that he pretty much just runs through it and then just pools and trollolols away. It has great synergy with Amy on that Elise pick. And so if this Vladimir gets rolling, I expect that to be something to watch for. Now, you do have anti-dive in the pick of the Bard for 0, so Team WE do have some options that they can play around with it, as well as anti-dive on Alessandra. But otherwise, again, Team WE's comp is about long-range pick. You've got the Tempered Fate Hail Mary throw into the On the Hunt to just run everyone down there. Likewise, playing around Fog of War with Kassadin and Lysandra and their mobility in jungle corridors to get onto backlines to blow everyone up. And then it's just Nidalee kind of controlling everything, keeping everyone healthy, and assisting with Siege. So that's kind of how these two comps look. So look for long-range pick potential in the late game from Team WE, as well as Vladimir and Elise to hopefully get leads and to be diving towers.
Do we think that maybe, we were talking about LGD, we were talking about the fact that Amy is largely a problem for this team at the moment, the fact that he's not able to get into position to gank lanes as effectively. Now with the fact that, he's got the Vladimir lane, he's got the Echo lane, two champions that are fantastic at diving turrets, what with their untargetability, especially after Echo hits level 6, not to mention the fact that he has a shield on his parallel convergence as well. Things looking great as far as that is concerned, at least able to aid that extraordinarily well, but he has to be there for Oscarin. Do we think that this is going to be hinging a lot on Amy and his ability to play this one out?
But it's more so on Amy being proactive rather than reactionary. So when you're diving someone underneath someone's tower, it's obviously you seeing that my top lane or my mid laner are so far ahead that there is kill pressure here, as opposed to Amy needing to show up to save the day simply because Marin's getting 1v3'd and he just needs his jungler there. So it's a very different instance. A different point to stress. It's more going to be about how far ahead can LGD plan, how effective will they be with it, rather than Amy's self-awareness over the game to predict where the enemy opponent's going to be.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And Condi as well is probably going to try and make his life hell by getting into that jungle, really ripping things apart with that Nidalee pickup. And of course, it is something that he has found a lot of success on. Has been falling away just a little bit because we've, like, whenever we see, like, one of Kindred or Nidalee, like, banned away or something like that, it's like you get both of them, generally. And you are going to be picking from those other junglers. But often it's the Kindred that gets through, and you don't then see the Nidalee. So it's exciting to see what Condi's going to be able to do on this pick, as he's going to eat his way through the jungle. We are back onto Summoner's Rift, though, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, LGD, now moving up towards the top side as 957 pops down a ward. Isn't going to push his luck, as it looks like a lane swap is in mind here for LGD.
They were spotted out by the ward, however, so we'll see if they're able to get it still. Emp did cheekily reposition himself, is now walking back towards the top side.
Yeah, and you can see Silverbard wander towards that ward on the bottom side of the map as well, as it has been pinged.
They should investigate and figure this out relatively quickly, though. Typically, bards like to invade level 1 to make the most of their meeps.
Yep, meep slap into
slap.
Cosmic Binding.
No, it's just about the slap.
Don't even worry about the Q.
Don't
Don't
even
level
worry
anything,
about
just
it.
wander in and smack someone about the head.
Meep slap into 2 auto attacks, Cosmic Binding into Ignite. That guy's dead.
What a powerhouse. What a boss.
What a god.
Mm-hmm.
Lane swap initiated.
Damn right. So you and Imp going to start on the Gromp here. He's going to be 957, looking to try and get amongst it after he's helped out with these Krugs, in order to get himself at least 3 creeps. Condi pouncing around this one. Does get himself some resets. Of course, this is pre-change Nidalee. Not going to have that. He's going to have that reset very, very easily, instead of having to just deal with it being lowered in cooldown by a little bit.
Marn going ahead and beating his counterpart to lane, gets the 3 creeps. Likewise, 957 gets them as well, just a little bit slower. And we have now initiated double jungling. And the lane swap commences, so...
Ah, sick Cosmic Binding.
What this does mean is that the mid lane is isolated. This Vladimir will get all of the opportunity to punish this Kassadin, especially at these early levels.
Oh, 957 actually turning onto you here just a little bit. Let's get himself some concussive blows as Condi is going to make his way out. 957 says, oh, come on, man. You took all of those. Now I'm still level 1.
I think the adaptation that Team WE need to make, especially with this Bard, is instead of letting the mid lane be isolated, take these windows where the towers are going down and people are repositioning the lanes and gank this mid lane, like what you see Zero doing.
Yeah, Zero does have to contest with a heck of a lot of creeps who are hanging around, but she at least does get a cup of cocoa out of it. Reach towards the sugar cube, Coco. Give us some more. But 5CS is the lead at the moment. Punish probably going to continue to move ahead in this lane with that range advantage, with that Vladimir advantage that he does have. We'll see whether GA can weather the storm.
Team WE choosing not to fast push this despite the fact that they had 2 waves coming in. Instead, they let the counter wave push in and change the aggro of the creeps. So they should just be feeding this one towards their top laner.
Condi actually coming down to deliver an attack speed buff to Mystic, possibly, as Amy's able to lock down his blue buff. Lots of extra jungle speed out of the Nidalee. Ahead a little bit. They aren't going to be able to grab this minion, this turret on this wave. WE may be behind a little bit on this turret push.
And again, it was just kind of mismanaging the creep aggro again. Not as precise as they would have liked it, but it will mean that they can rotate into this dragon before swapping back, so Ocean Drake advantage in the end.
Yeah, 957 actually able to lock down this turret as well, so he gets himself the local gold. Marin going to do the same thing. Actually gives it to Imp as well.
Unfortunately for LGD, they're not in a position where they were able to stack up their wave and utilize Lisa's pushing power to push through to get some sort of counterplay on that dragon take. But they will get a counterplay on the mid lane.
Yeah, GA could be in a lot of trouble here.
Just
Flash
gonna
is
walk
available.
back towards his.
Yeah, but there's the flash pull. Getting the slow for Punish. GA is going to flash, but it's still going to get hit. My God, everyone piling on top, and Punish grabs first blood for LGD.
So the question was, by losing the dragon, what do LGD trade for it? They could have made the choice to conserve their creep wave and try to push into Team WE's inner top tower, but instead they use that 5-second window, duck into Fog of War, and translate this into an advantage for Punished, giving Vladimir that first blood on Kassadin.
Did expend his flash, though, You did mention the fact that you do probably have to try a little bit harder to keep this Vlad down. Does, of course, have the pool available to him, though, and 7 CS now the lead for the Vlad with a wave in a very nice position.
He's also got a level advantage, as well as his Ghost still available for him. So even though he doesn't have Flash, he's still in a very nice situation in terms of safety in the lane.
And Ghost is arguably better for a Vladimir as well, just considering the fact that you can pull and create so much more distance just over a longer period of time.
One of the few champions that Summoner spell does effective work for.
Well, Punish building up that Crimson Rush, as you can see there. There's Imp and Yu trying to push this wave towards the turret. Another one's going to crash in. LGD looking to try and grab as many as they can. Condi on the prowl, taking away Jungle Camp after Jungle Camp, but on the powerful side of his map. Just standard lane swapping things for WE and LGD so far.
Advantage still to LGD just because of how they use their time in between the lane swaps.
Yeah.
See if the Ocean Dragon really means that much. But this is kind of the big difference between why it took them multiple waves. You saw that Mystic caught the incoming creep wave there and then slowly dragged it into his creep wave. Obviously, this changes the target function of the incoming creeps from the tower towards enemy minions. And it was just slightly fumbled the first time, but doing a much better job this time around.
Most certainly are. Amy, of course, prowling around the jungle here. Will grab himself a Grump. As you can see, it is Condi's Nidalee towards the top side of the map. 10 CS advantage as far as those jungle creeps are concerned as well. Is actually going to translate to a little bit more here for the Nidalee. Amy hasn't even been back to base yet. GA trying to trade. And Amy does have to be so careful. Grabs himself the Wolf Camp, and even going to be able to get the rest of them as well. So Condi just controlling his jungle entirely.
Because he's able to jungle faster and he has that CS lead means that he has an experience lead. It was level 6 to Amy's level 5, so having the stronger smite, able to win the battle there.
Yeah.
Kind of curious why Amy would try to contest it in the first place. But otherwise, side lanes are opened up. This does empower the double TP team a little bit more, as well as the Sivir comp, just because there's farther to run. But we'll see if they can execute on that.
Well, red buff looks to be taken away here by WE at the same time. So Condi launches himself on top of the Brambleback, and Zero will be able to create an exit for him if he wants to. 957 going to claw his way out as Marin was going a little bit aggressive.
Does have the advantage initially in this top lane. Xie trying to trade back on Vlad.
Doing quite nicely here as well, as Amy's going to get caught. Spear lands, will have to use the repel, but my god, the damage as Punish is going to come over, picks himself up a kill as Amy still alive. Zero's going to die as well, and LGD picking up another advantage.
They pull the trigger on the teleport and collapse onto Team WE invading the red buff, but there's no reason that Team WE should be trying to force that so hard. They don't have control of the mid lane.
Well, Boomerang comes down. Imp takes a bit of damage there from Mystic. That's a big creep wave Imp has to deal with, but he's got a very long lane. I mean, yeah, Mystic does have to be careful. And WE just looking a bit out of sorts, honestly, in this game.
The lane swap caught them off guard, and they didn't execute as well as LGD, especially on that initial gank. They've now got to slow things down.
Yeah, Repel is going to prop Amy up, but Condi still able to look for more. Marin's going to come in, and everyone piling through. Pound's going to get Condi at least over the wall. They just always seem to be there, ready to help Amy out when he looks like he's being caught.
And again, it just goes back to having control of both top and mid lane, meaning that they can get the superior collapse. In response, Team WE are trying to funnel all of their resources into the mid lane. Should get good chip damage.
Yeah. But WE, I mean, with this comp that has the Kassadin, they don't have a lot of wave clear coming out of this mid lane. They can put 957 in there, of course.
I think they have good enough wave clear in their side lanes.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was thought of in the composition when drafting, like you said, having Lysandra there, so she has her W and E and Q, which will all work wonderfully together, but more importantly, having Mystic on Sivir. So I like the fact that a lot of teams will draft Kassadin and then not draft any other wave clear on the comp. Team WE did not fall into that trap.
Punish as well, just staying at full health constantly, being pretty happy at the moment on this Vladimir. As GA going to head over and grab himself a blue buff. Still massive lead for Condi as far as farm is concerned. And this Nidalee, we're looking at Condi to really make sure that he can suffocate Amy out of the jungle.
But the difference between an Elise late game and a Nidalee late game don't mean anything. Nidalee does not scale well. She can assist teams in her assassination potential if you have a very kind of scrappy team fight or in your siege potential.
Yeah.
But she's not going to be as key as someone like Elise will with these CC cocoons.
You can see Punished trading with GA now. He does have the Rift Walk in order to get out of the way of the Tides of Blood, which is definitely a good news story, because that can do a lot of damage. In he goes one more time, but if he uses it aggressively, it is a different story. There's the ultimate Hemoplague actually in here as Amy looking for it, but it's not actually going to do anything.
So the counterplay to Vlad is trying to make these trades in between his Crimson Rush, as the tower will fall. Nope.
Quite possibly. GA actually playing very
scary.
far up, though. Yeah, exactly.
Really ballsy from Team WE. But again, on Vladimir, he has very clear windows of counterplay in between his Crimson Rush and the superior trade there. And I think Kassadin actually makes the most of that because he has such low cooldowns as well as his shield. So it's a very interesting, I'm not going to call it a counter pick just yet, but I can understand the mentality that Xie has picking Kassadin into Vlad.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Imp, though, has been doing fantastically well on this Vayne pickup. Infernal Drake actually going to get started. Helped out a lot by those Silver Bolts as well that Imp's able to chuck into it. There's going to be Dragon number 2, sorry, going over to LGD. Ocean Drake was the one that WE were able to pick off as Drake number 1. The added stats going to be definitely helping LGD out, especially as they move into the late game, and now extending their lead to 2,000 against WE by taking that outer turret in the mid lane and opening things up. And with a comp that has an Elise, wants to find some picks, definitely a good news story to have that down so early.
Just so much more important, though, that they're naturally winning their lanes. Again, going back to the top, the mid, and even this bottom lane, the CS difference between Sivir and Vayne, it alleviates so much pressure off of Amy to perform and to keep his lanes ahead.
Well, there's the Frozen Tomb. All too easy here for Condi to make his way in. And the Hunted passive is on top of Mara, and he's able to flash his way out as Condi can't pounce over that wall. And WE at least save their top laner and get a flash out of Marin.
They also have a sizable wave that can push into this, force Amy to respond.
Yep, Marin, of course, quite low underneath that turret. But there's no ultimate out of 957, and the spear's going to land. Marin gets himself the shield as Condi pounces his way out, but he can't keep defending this. Whew, scary stuff for Marin, but he's going to be okay.
Definitely testing himself. They do manage to stall out long enough that they're not able to take the advantage of that big wave into the inner turret and start pushing it down. So Marin, gambling with his life, does save his structure, or at least some damage on the structure. And we're starting to see different lane assignments come out of Team WE. So now that the map's opened up, we're starting to utilize that double teleport more, or at least threaten with it. And we're starting to threaten the Vayne with the Kassadin pick.
So Rod of Ages now completed as well for GA. Decides to go towards a Negatron Cloak as item number 2. Probably looking for that Abyssal Scepter if he can get it. But if he is going to be going across from Vayne, maybe something like a Zhonya's could have been a cool idea. But decides not to. Marin just continuing to smack down on this wave towards the top side. Lots of pings here from LGD in the mid lane. They do have a teleport from Marin available. And Punished is making his way in.
Team WE trying to brute force this one, knowing that this tower is very low.
And Imp actually taking some considerable damage there, actually, from the combo out of GA.
They can threaten to dive. Obviously, Lissandra is very good at that with her Glacial Path.
And the Frozen Tomb, which is now back off cooldown again. Does have about 20% cooldown reduction from items alone. Is Amy going to take the return on the Boomerang?
And
but
more
LGD will lose their outer turret.
This is where Nidalee is strong.
Whoa, ultimate actually. Glacial Fissure comes in from you, but it's a really nice Cosmic Binding. You actually almost falling down. The spear not quite going to find him. Probably would have been his death if Condi nailed it.
But we talked about the fact that Elise is going to offer a lot more late game than a really farmed Nidalee, so Condi's lead doesn't mean as much in terms of the composition's late game. But this is where Nidalee is strong. This very early sieging potential, obviously standing aside, throwing her spears, they're still going to hurt quite a bit due to him being ahead of the clock because of that farm, 48 to 77. So I like that Team WE, again, very good at recognizing when they're strong and how to execute on it.
And they have actually clawed back that lead quite well here, especially with that global gold available to them. The outer ring of structures has been completely removed on both sides of the map, as inner turrets are all that remain. GA wants to be able to grab himself that blue buff, does so relatively easily, and now will face off against Punished towards the bottom side of the map. Or actually, he's going to head back to base, and it's going to be Marin that picks up for him.
His Negatron Cloak will assist him in either matchup against Vlad or Echo, of course.
Yeah, Mystic able to keep himself safe, and actually back up in farm here against Imp on the Sivir matchup. And look, Mystic just wants to get farm, get himself to a good stage in the late game where, with Peel, he will be able to rip through an entire team with his Ricochet. Imp, though, probably just wants to single out Mystic and kill him, if he can.
An issue with Vayne, however, is that a lot of the times if she has her Bork and her Phantom Dancer, she'll try to kick herself out to one of these side lanes and just look for a 1v1 matchup on any member because she'll still have kill threat. She actually doesn't have that luxury against this type of composition. So it really limits LGD's win conditions and that they can't utilize Vayne in the
split
same
push capacity,
yeah, in the same type of versatility.
We can see Punished. He has his dash cannon completed as his first item. Seen this a lot. Of course, saw it in match number 1. Xiaohu picking that one up for RNG.
Yeah, pretty stable. It helps out with Vladimir's low mobility. Obviously, he also synergizes with it really well. It's just cool to see him dash forward and throw down an E.
Yep. Big tides of blood. It's 957 going to take the whiplash of the Time Winder. But Amy going to clear out some vision and going to stop WE from finding any gank towards the top side.
But this is important from LGD that they've effectively stalled out the game despite not having the best wave clear on their composition.
Yeah.
And they're starting to funnel farm and gold into their appropriate carries. So pressure on Team WE to have the momentum and to try to run away with this. And this is what it comes down to. Kill pressure on this Vayne.
Well, you can see you actually trying to make sure that the Vayne does stay alive. Amy helping out at the same time. That Tides of Blood starting to really deal with these mini waves very well from Punished. 957 though has to be careful of Marin. If he takes too much damage, he's not going to be able to enter this lane just because he does have such a long lane in order to have to run away from the Echo in. Dragon is going to be up though, 6 seconds until Cloud Drake number 1.
LGD really bullying themselves through to this.
Oh.
Completely shoving their way into mid lane, taking control of the Rift Scuttler. Maximizing the threat Marin has in the top lane, and now looking to contest in jungle.
Yeah, actually Winterspite is going to go wide as Condi just pounces his way over the wall. Spear not going to find anyone either. As LGD, you're right, just brute force right here. Because they are going to start up Dragon number 2. 3.
WE confident, though, that they can use this as a 5v5.
Yeah, actually going to contest this. As you can see, there's the back to base here from 957. He wants to find the teleport, and there it is. Mystic actually going to throw down the ultimate right now as the Tempered Fate locks down Imp and Punished. But there's the parallel convergence. Not going to find too much. But WE's members are getting exploded. My God, Punished damage is gigantic as Imp dancing around this fight. GA's going to fall. Imp is a god on this Vayne. That is such beautiful play as Condi jumps his way out. And LGD just roll over WE in this fight. And how, Marin, that shield was pretty conveniently timed.
And again, it's a Cloud Dragon. So emphasis is that Team WE went into that only for the 5v5. They're not going to throw a game or kill themselves on the back of a Cloud Drake. Maybe an Infernal, maybe a Mountain, but not a Cloud. It really came down to 957 not being able to follow up at a beautifully timed Tempered Fate. The Tempered Fate actually locked up Imp. So one of the carries was vulnerable, but the teleport was still channeling, so Lissandra wasn't in position soon enough.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't the team fight that WE were looking for. Thought that it possibly could be an opportunity for them. Of course, the Dragon doing a little bit of damage to LGD, but Punish just did so much work. This Vladimir pick, it's pretty silly.
Naturally also empowers the rest of his team just because of how the Hemo Plague will work.
Yep. Now Imp able to grab himself a red buff. He has a Hex Trinket now built up, as well as that Zeal. So we'll see what Imp is going to build towards next, whether he finishes the Maw, grabs himself something like a Static Shiver or a Phantom Dancer. Tries to help his either wave clear or dueling potential. As Marin could actually be in trouble here. Claw comes out. 957 looking to try and find his way in as Condi pouncing his way through. Marin throws down the Time Winder. Not going to find the spear. And WE have to slink away.
And again, just opening up more time and space for Imp to continue to get this farm has now turned a discrepancy into an advantage over the Sivir. And with that Hex Drinker, Imp has a lot more security and kill pressure on a Kassadin or a Lissandra 1v1. Obviously willing to take his chances here and looking for the outplay.
And certainly played well in that last team fight as well, as he's actually going to tumble towards GA. Once again, just threatening the Kassadin. But nice Force Pulse says that Imp probably shouldn't be doing that all the time. There are 4 Abyssal Scepters in this game, Frostman. Possibly like 5 soon.
Purple wands that are super cost efficient.
Yeah. Now 3 of them on WE. Not bad. We'll see whether Amy decides to build one. Because he can.
I think it says something about an item when you have 5 of them in a game.
With a unique passive that doesn't stack.
Yep.
Yep. I think we're learning something here too. But Marin does have his Sheen. Spectre's Cowl there on top of it as well. But going early into the damage, into the aggression here for the Echo seems interesting.
It's Marn.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're already all winning. His damage will be amplified by Vladimir.
Punish then takes down a Gromp.
I mean, unfortunately, the secret to how this all worked is that the initiated lane swap bypass Vayne's weak early phase, isolated the mid lane, allowed Vladimir to win naturally, and then take that natural winning into spreading it over the jungle and getting an early dragon. And then from there, they just allocated farm correctly to feed into Echo and Vayne, these dueling champions, and opened up dueling for LGD. Which, again, we talk about the one problem that doesn't exist with this team is their micro ability.
Yeah. Imp almost actually got taken down there as GA going aggressive onto Marin. There's the Rift Walk, actually. GA not going to get stunned by the parallel convergence, but does assert his dominance on the bottom side of the map. Oh, WE, they're looking for Shu. Nice Unbreakable is going to stop anything from happening here. Cosmic Binding doesn't find Imp. Good tumble timing. And that's twice where they almost managed to find a pick, but just couldn't do it.
And they resorted to trying to find these picks and making these cheeky plays simply because they can't just run 5v5 at LGD. They'll lose.
Yeah. Trying to scale, of course, still here in this game. It's just feeling like LGD are doing exactly the same thing. And by the look of this Vladimir pick, I just don't know how it's going to be all that helpful here for WE to wait until the later stages of the game when he's got 6 items and you actually can't kill him.
Oh, well, we've seen LGD fumble before in these big, important, high-pressure 5v5 scenarios, whereas that's where Team WE thrive.
It's going to be a big test to fumble this one, I think.
Yes.
But, look, they might have it in them. LGD now looking for the pick-off onto GA. He is trying to Rift Walk his way out as there's the Blade of the Ruined King. Tempered Fate comes down. GA is going to fall as Imp just continues his rampage. My God, double kill almost instantly as Zero is going to fall. The Bard just not able to stay alive. And Imp's Vayne is starting to do ludicrous things.
Now has the wave pressured behind him, so could try to turn this pick into a tower. Meanwhile, Marn responding to 957 on the top side of the map.
Yeah, despite the fact that it's 7-1, you know, it's still only about 2,500 gold to lead. So LGD still looking to try and break more of the base open, get themselves more solid of an advantage.
It's really important that Xie starts to itemize into this Hourglass so he has more protection diving this backline to assassinate this Vayne. Likewise, the armor will probably help him out a bit.
Does have the arm guard now, so it is exactly where he's heading. Mystic as well, trying to get himself up towards the Infinity Edge or maybe even the Last Whisper if he wants to get to that beforehand. Depends how behind he's feeling, I guess.
Second item, Guardian Angel, coming out of Amy.
Yeah, that's what that Negatron Cloak was going towards. As Condi is going to start off Cloud Drake number 2. And WE going to grab the 4th dragon that has spawned this game relatively easily there at the same time. So, last remaining dragon to be picked up will be the Ocean Drake.
Gives an opportunity for WE to pick up 3 Ocean Drakes.
Yeah.
Pretty important for how much roaming around this map has been happening. It also means that there's a 6-minute window where they don't need to contest or worry about any objective other than Baron. Although we'll see how confident LGD are.
Yeah.
Because
And Amy has already removed vision from the area.
Yep, moving into the area, setting down pockets of true vision by taking the Rift Scuttler as well as the pink on the Baron pit itself, and now trying to lure Team WE into a trap. Very aggressive trap.
Yeah, Imp actually throws down the ultimate here as well. He's actually still looking for something. Boomerang's going to fly through, but doesn't find Imp. So, I mean, that's a cooldown now unavailable for the LGD AD carry. We'll see whether WE can actually capitalize, but as they moved around that jungle, there's a lot of vision available here for LGD.
Should be shoutouts to Amy too, as kind of we recap how we got to this moment.
Yeah.
Only 7 kills, but Amy's been responsible in 6 of them. So we talk about how we need LGD's jungler to step up and to do something, has certainly been empowered on this Elise pick. I don't necessarily think he's the primary catalyst for a lot of that success, but doing a much better job being reactionary and being where his team needs him to be.
Yeah, definitely. Now WE just looking to try and clean up. It's punished. Dash cannon if they're ready. Imp going to get nailed by the spear. That Cosmic Binding not going to find too much. Boomerang there as well, not going to do too much work as Amy gets the smite off, gets a lot of health back as Mystic might find himself slightly out of position. Nice Unbreakable comes in, but the Tempered Fate is going to be there. Locks up Amy. Able to flash his way to safety as Punish is just commanding so much respect with his position. Condi still looking for more as Marin makes his way over. And no one going to die just yet. Zero pretty squishy. And there are low health bars on LGD. Just going back to base. Sorting things out. Condi, don't face check that one. As there's the possible condemn. Not going to happen as he throws down the final hour and just flashes in and takes down Condi. Now looking for more as there's the Blade of the Ruined King. Mystic has to deal with Imp, but that's the easiest double kill I've ever seen. Imp is just so strong.
Hits the Blade of the Ruined King around the corner, immediately pops heal to give him the movement speed bonus, and then hats a crit on a Silver Bolt proc. Deletes 2 people, which opens up a free Baron for LGD.
Yeah, Zero's going to watch it go down, but that's about all he can do. There's a Cassidon in the area. Marin's actually going down quite low, but I have a feeling he's not going to try and do too much there, and that is going to be the Baron falling. Amy secures that one, and LGD looking to answer back in this series. 27 minutes into the game, it's already a 6,000 gold lead. We'll see where LGD move next.
LGD's hopes and dreams are sitting on the back of Imp's shoulders right now.
Yeah.
Marin's had a great series so far, but Imp is just on another level.
And he now has a rapid fire cannon as well, so this guy's got a lot of attack speed. Now moving towards what looks like some Last Whisper upgrade or another. As Condi continues to eliminate his jungle, but he's running out of time where he's relevant. It's Nidalee sort of known for owning the jungle, but it's just going to be very difficult as these 5v5s start to break out.
The problem is that Team WE's composition never got to that backline. So they have so much backline threat and dive, not only in their Cassidon and Lissandra, but also in the reach that Sivir has with a bouncing blade. Or, excuse me, a ricochet.
Yeah.
But there's never been an instance where we had a follow-up on a Tempered Fate into assassinating Imp.
Mystic able to get at least a ricochet across here as the spell shield goes down. My god, that's a lot of damage. Just incidentally onto Mystic. As Imp is just so confident. There's a Tempered Fate. Imp moves out of the way of it. Not going to actually find anyone as he's just going 1 versus 5. They have managed to take down some turrets here, but Yu's going to fall as well. The shutdown comes in for GA. That is a big deal. 957 going to get rid of the Braum. Repel going to throw Amy up into the air. He's actually able to repel his way over the top at the same time. Marin taking down the inhibitor turret in the mid lane as that is going to be Amy falling. But if they manage to break open the base, that's actually a big deal here for LGD. Nice Magical Journey gets 0 over. But base broken. LGD at least successful there, but they lose 3 members.
Very different story, however, in a skirmish. Yes, it was technically a 3v5, but that's what that composition should be executed to do. Get onto Imp, immediately delete him from a fight. Like you said, LGD do manage to open up the mid inhibitor by trading Imp's life for that tower. But
yeah, but it's still going to be a bit of an interesting scenario here. Not exactly a fight that you probably would have taken, but look, when Imp's playing like this, that is a good thing. The man willing to go in against almost anyone.
Also, a big thing to point out is that Amy's GA was popped, which means he immediately sells it.
Yeah.
It's no longer a cost-efficient item, although Team WE caught out by Punish.
Yeah, Frozen Tomb actually going to be thrown out here just to make sure that they can't catch up. Nice slow field there at the same time, so LGD can't close in on 957 and Condi. Lots of vision here from LGD, though. They are well in control of this map. Is WE looking to just continue holding on, get themselves another 5 minutes, guys. And that 35-minute window comes in, where no matter what, WE always feel like they have a chance.
It just comes down to that single choice, that one team fight. See if they can stall it out long enough. They don't have to compete with a reviving Spider anymore, but jumping back onto Vayne still going to be difficult if Echo and Vladimir are also in the fight.
Yeah. LGD, though, will want to finish off their Dragon collection. Elder Drake will be the next one, but they grab an Ocean to complement their Mountain and Cloud that they already have. And WE making sure they are as safe as possible. Double Zhonya's now completed here for WE, though. So they are getting some safety on their carries. More of Malmortius done here for Mystic as well.
Big thing is that they have 3 pink wards in their inventory. It's not to set up vision around Perrin or Dragon. It's simply for Vayne. And when she drops into her final hour. So they understand what their target is. It's now just about executing on it.
Imp dodging out of the way of that spear. Condi's still looking for opportunities, but LGD making sure that WE can't start off a fight as in goes LGD. 957 already down to half health as GA will have to get his way out. There's the explosion. 957 is going to be able to help take down Imp in the backline. The Zhonya's is there. GA is able to get himself out, but LGD, they're inside the base. WE aren't here, and they can't do anything about Punished. He is so strong as the Boomerang almost takes him down, but look at that Q. When it's powered with that Crimson Rush, it's able to do so much work. Teleport coming in, GA able to find his way round the backside, and Punished is going to probably fall eventually. No, the pull comes in. Mystic's able to lock one down, but look at this, WE. It's only 32 minutes. They're still able to get an ace.
They're 4 minutes early right there, and what a beautifully executed team fight. We talked about the pink wards. They weren't for setting up objectives. They were for the Vayne. Immediately, the Tempered Fate catches Imp. Pink wards go down. Lissandra follows up, locks him up, deletes that carry before the team fight even starts. And then it's a great management of their teleports to come in for the counter flank with Caston and Lissandra and clean up the back half of it.
Well, you can see Mystic did so much damage in that fight at the same time. More than double that of Punished, who was top on the side of LGD. Imp not going to be able to defend this as On the Hunt comes out. They're waiting to make sure they can take him down, and they do manage to kill the AD carry. You going to fall immediately afterwards. That is another ace to come in as they've broken open the base, and they will be able to get an inhibitor. WE, what happens? It hits 30 minutes, and they're winning the game.
They don't act on something unless they know 100% that they can do it.
Well, it's certainly looking like they can here as LGD now getting punished for their slight lack of wave clear. Mystic able to get a lot of auto attack damage through as punished, trying to do some work at the same time. But Amy is so incredibly low. Zero is going to fall. And that is actually going to be the double kill. Dash Cannon comes through as punished at full health, just wreaking havoc against WE. They have managed to take down the inhibitor. That is a big deal. And Amy somehow survived after all was said and done. GA not going to be able to grab a blue buff, but the kills all tied up.
How frustrating must it be being Imp on LGD right now? You play the game so well for 90% of it, but it doesn't matter. That is a composition designed to kill a Vayne. There's way too much backline dive threat, and unfortunately you can't rely on your front line to do enough damage to compensate for it. If I'm Imp, they're sending Cassidy, Lissandra, and Bard after me. Why can't you guys do anything?
He only just built a QSS, though. And I honestly think that that's basically the problem, because he's just been frozen, tombed, and destroyed whilst in that CC. If he had have built a QSS like 3rd item, 4th item, he was instead going towards the Infinity Edge as his 4th choice. I honestly feel like it's just greedy.
See if it changes the course of these team fights again.
He had to sell a pickaxe in order to pick it up.
Team WE. I cannot believe they came back in this.
I know.
I thought for sure, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, oh, they're not going to make this mistake again. They won't let the Vladimir go through, but they're just going to resign themselves. Nope. 35 minutes.
Well, Baron is once again available. They do have a Bard, so they can sneak in behind the pit. But
I can't, Atlas,
yeah, I know.
I cannot get over how good Team WE are on executing compositions.
Exactly.
Team fighting is something that's often taken for granted in terms of, you know, when people look at what makes the most elite team, they look at macro play and how they set up waves and all of this stuff. But the the simple combination of how they layer CC or how they're layering abilities or how they're zoning around certain aspects of a team fight, what targets they're prioritizing and when. It's that very simple example of Easy Hoon grabs the Rune Prison on one person, but knowing that he's going to die anyway, turns the rest of his damage. Like, nothing is wasted. And that's what's beautiful, and that's what's potent about Team WE.
Assuming it's past 32 minutes in the game.
Assuming it's past 32. That was technically, what, 31 and 22 seconds?
That was even
so they're
better.
early.
This is crazy. WE, if they continue to make these sort of improvements, they're going to be winning at 25 minutes.
But it's something that's so subtle and easy to overlook that makes this team strong.
You can see Baron is going to get speared, as Amy does have that Guardian Angel back up and available. Decided actually not to sell it there. Just left it in his inventory, waited out that 5-minute gap, which was a good opportunity for WE, but now WE defending as LGD are going to make a push. They are still, of course, ahead by 5,000 gold. LGD still in the driver's seat, but without that inhibitor towards the top side, things getting more dangerous.
Pink Ward's still available for Team WE. Chuck Zero and Condi.
Double teleport still available here for WE as well, so if they manage to get another protracted team fight, things are going to be a big deal. GA going to spot off Marin there towards the side, but it's an even trade between the two, and this inhibitor all the while is falling down lower and lower. Tides of Blood comes out, punish.
Watch the Tempered Fate, they're aiming for Imp. That's why Shie's creeping along the side, making sure that he can get back there.
Yep, still trying to find some work here as there's the Tempered Fate, doesn't find anyone as 957 thought about going in. Marin is very, very low as Condi gets a point-blank spear onto you. There are low health bars on the side of LGD, and now they're all grouped up. In goes Shie. They almost managed to delete someone, but it's not quite there. It is going to be you falling down first as the Vladimir is able to take out Zero. 957 somehow still alive, but LGD turning it on its head. This is massive. Imp with the QSS, but no! Mystic's able to lock one down. This is huge. Punish just so big. And he's the last man standing. That is ludicrous. Out of this Vladimir, who heads back to base, will be able to clean up all of these super creeps. And what do they get? They get an inhibitor.
Amy walked back in and killed himself.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it broke my brain when that happened. I'm like, let's ignore it. Vladimir's huge.
Again, the execution is perfect from Team WE. Slight crits came out, Imp was zoned out of the fight, did manage to use that QSS, so he survived much longer, but excellent zoning potential from the likes of 957 to force Vayne out of the fight as long as possible. No, they didn't get the immediate assassination on Vayne, which is why ultimately LGD technically won the team fight, although trading, Oh, okay, the Nexus Tower didn't go down, so thank God.
Yeah.
But in him back up. That's important. Okay, overall, LGD, they do come out ahead, but not necessarily because they played it perfectly, but simply because their Nexus, or excuse me, their inhib decided to respawn.
Yeah.
Something completely out of their control, put them ahead in the trade. Excellent job.
Brilliant.
Well done, boys. Go home.
But it's now LGD with sort of the map control, knowing that it's their inhibitor that is now available instead of WE's. So
I love it. They come out of the fight, and it's like, it's fine, we're ahead. We got an inhib trade.
Yeah.
If I'm Hart, I'm just standing in the audience like, oh my god.
Oh no. They are still ahead by a fair bit more. That being said, Mystic now has an Infinity Edge. This guy's got 4 items on his Sivir, and he's looking very, very powerful. If he is untouched in these fights, it's going to be very scary.
Ridiculous amounts of damage in these fights. It's pretty much all on the back of Mystic.
And that's a Rabadon's Death Cap now done from 957. So there are definite item spikes coming in here. Void Staff as well for Jie is a big deal as Marin picks up the blue buff. No, Jie was the one able to lock that one down. That was optimistic, honestly, thinking you can outburst a Kassadin. But 2 teleports are now available for WE as the spear is going to come in. And Imp is going to have to deal with the Baron smacking him in the head. Condi now pouncing away.
More important is that Vayne does not have Flash right now. So if a team fight happens while that summoner is not available, LGD are toast. They need to buy time for key summoners on Imp.
Well, Marin actually does have a Guardian Angel. He's going to get engaged on here as Jie finds his way over the wall. On the Hunt was popped. So that's actually a big cooldown here that WE don't have available now. But you're right, they want to start a fight wherever they can.
Super dangerous to check into this. They don't have a blue trinket available, which is why they're just going to continue to push down mid lane and create a pressure point that LGD have to respond to.
Also able to shove out those super creeps as well, buying them some more time. But yeah, here's the TP flank from Mara, and he's trying to find his way in as Mystic. Could be in trouble, walks right on top of the parallel convergence. There's the spell shield, flashes out of the way here as Amy catches him, and Mystic's going to get exploded. LGD find the fight that they want. 957 trying to deal with Amy, but it's just a Q from Punish that obliterates him. And not even with Imp available, really. He's finally finding his way over, but LGD find the team fight they're looking for, and this could just be the game.
They are waiting for the creep wave to come, and it's still relatively far back, but huge death timers. Imp.
My God, the creep's just doing things that Condi doesn't want them to. Doesn't matter, as Imp is just massive. Takes down the jungler relatively easily.
But check out...
he's just not going to be able to do enough.
But Xie is stalling the creeps. A single super creep manages to get up and underneath it, but they're just shredding through the towers.
Yeah, that is going to be enough. Nexus turrets are going to fall. The Nexus is to follow, and LGD even out the series against WE. Whoa, it was an optimistic team comp, but they managed to make it work.
There is life left in LGD, and we said it at the start of the block that anything is technically possible for this team when you have all-star performers like Marn and Imp. And it was certainly on the back of those two that led LGD to victory.
Not to mention the fact that Vladimir is a silly champion.
Again, you know that Team WE are shaking their heads saying that will not happen again.
Yeah, damn right. So look, it was banned away in game number 1, more aimed at Xie we thought, but Punish just showing that he can do the same thing. Vladimir, pretty ridiculous at this stage of the game. And look, he was ignored for a lot of that later stage of the game.
But he's still empowering Imp and Marn to do as much
and creating so much pressure.
Good news for LGD fans, though. LGD know how to team fight. Still a little bit inconsistent on the back half of those, especially for Team WE fighting from a gold deficit. But again, the individual mechanical abilities of the likes of Imp and Marn are so impressive to watch.
Yeah, especially with that incredible Vayne play out of Imp that we were just seeing. Xie, of course, able to lock him down in this fight. Fight where WE were able to find somewhat of their way back in, but it just wasn't enough, and it was just honestly too little too late in order to get him back into the game.
Again, Condi's Nidalee pick really not meeting anything in these late game team fights. So unfortunate, but congratulations to LGD at least winning this game. Again, this is the second place team in the group, Team WE.
And look, Amy was able to get work done. The cocoons were on point. He was able to actually get around the map earlier on and pick up advantages, and that is brilliant to see out of this guy. Hopefully in game number 3, he'll be able to continue that, because honestly, if he gets on something like this Elise and does work like that one more time, I'm happy to just change my opinion. Amy, map presence, nailed it.
I'm not going to give him that much.
No?
No. He did better in this game, but overall the sample size that we have of Amy, more often than not, he's still not living up to the pressure that his team demands from him, or at least requires on a base level. Did play much better that game, so big props to Amy there. I would like to see him take the Elise in game 3 and really close this one out, but you have to think that draft phase was an issue, that it will be addressed, and I do not think that we will see another Vladimir pick, which means what do LGD have next? Punished is playing well, Imp is playing phenomenally, but how many different iterations of compositions do they have left?
Yeah, that's exactly right, but we will see after this very short break where LGD and WE square off for our final game of the night.